Hello, I will talk about Lenin's and Chayanov's regarding capital agriculture, and the title of my speech will be Chayanov versus Lenin, and I will explain the aspects of capital agriculture from the perspective of Lenin and Chayanov. Let me firstly start with Lenin's discussion of two roads to capitalist development of agriculture is often read as an implicit self-criticism of the unlinear conceptions of the development of capitalism in Russia, harrowing exploration and bondage, while at the same time a small minority of big peasants arises. In the second case, there is no landlord economy, or else it is broken up by the revolution which confiscates and splits up the feudal estates. In that case, the peasant predominates, becomes the sole agent of agriculture, and evolves into a capitalist farmer. In the first case, the main content of the evolution is transformation of feudal bondage into servitude and capitalist exploitation on the land of feudal landlords, junkers. In the second case, the main background is transformation of the patriarchal peasants into a bourgeois farmer. Both these paths are starting points for a capitalist development fully in accordance with the conception it has called classical. Each path leads to capitalist relation of production, wage labor relating to classes to each other, a rural proletariat and an agrarian bourgeois. The polarization of the rural class structure arises via differentiation of the peasantry according to the paradigm of Lenin's early works. The difference between the two paths relates to absence or presence of a landlord class. In the American case, where this element has always been absent, the rising agrarian bourgeois is wholly recruited from the rich peasant, while in the Prussian case, the farmer landlords come to make up a sizable part of the nascent bourgeois. Lenin held the American path to be superior since it had a better potential for the development of the productive forces. To facilitate the development of the productive forces, which is called the highest criterion of social progress, we must support not bourgeois evolution or landlord type, but bourgeois evolution of the peasant type. The former implies the utmost preservation of bondage and serfdom, the least rapid development of productive forces, and the retarded development of capitalism. It implies infinitely greater misery and suffering, exploitation and oppression for the broad mass of the peasantry, and consequently also for the proletariat. The second type implies the most rapid development of the productive forces and the best possible under the commodity production conditions of existence for the mass of peasants. In 1925, Chayanov wrote in order to reflect his conception of capitalism in agriculture like this: the dynamic process of agricultural proletarianization and concentration of production leading to large-scale agricultural production units based on hired labor are developing throughout the world, and in the former Soviet Union in particular at a rate much slower than was expected, and at the end of the field of agriculture that literally before our eyes the world's agriculture, ours included, is being more and more drawn into the general circulation of the world economy, and the centers of capitalism are more and more subordinating it to their leadership. The next step is that capitalism begins to actively interfere in the organization of production too. In Chayanov words, if to this we add in the most developed capitalist countries, such as those in North America, widely developed mortgage credit, the financing of farm circulating capital, and the dominating part played by capital invested in transport, elevator, irrigation, and other undertakings, then we have before us new ways in which capitalism penetrates agriculture. These ways convert the farmers into a labor force working with other people's means of production. They convert agriculture, despite the evident scattered and independent nature of the small commodity producers, into an economic system concentrated in a series of the largest undertakings, and through them entering the cheaper, controlled by the most advanced forms finance, capital